jumping, that paddle wheel thumping, black water keep rolling on past just the same. Oh, black water keep on rolling, Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on me? Oh, black water keep on rolling, Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining?
Alright, welcome back to SOS. I'm Stone Badass, and today I'm going to be making a knife sheath from 4 ounce leather. And I've got some different rolls of leather I wanted to show you and tell you where I bought them from. One of the problems I always have when I make these videos is I never say where I bought my leather from. And I get the question a lot, hey, BA, where do you buy your leather from? I go to Tandy Leather, and the reason why I go to tandyleather.com and buy all of my stuff for Leathercraft is because they support veterans. That's the reason why I do it. And they also have one in Knoxville, so I'm not too far from Knoxville, Tennessee, and if I wanted to drive there and go to their store, which if I ever went to their store, I would have to take the wife, or I would probably get beaten if I... I don't think I'd make it out of there without spending too much. So, because they've got cool stuff. They've got all these kits and stuff. Now this is, I've got this wrapped up here. Sorry about that. This is, this big old piece here. This is 9 ounce right here. It's close to 10. So, but that's, they usually mark it as 9 and 10. Or something like that. But I usually call it 10 because these, like this spot right here, that's a 10. I mean, I can tell just by the thickness of that. Now you can get a thickness gauge and gauge all this leather and you'll know exactly how thick that is. They have a thickness gauge that'll tell you. But some parts of it is kind of a 9 and some, like that part there is kind of a 9. And then, because you can tell by the thickness of that, that's kind of a 9. And then you start getting into like your 10. So just keep that in mind. I don't need that big piece. I need this. Now this is 4 ounce. And they usually mark this as 4 or 5. Because some sections of it has a slight 5 to it. And some is like a 4. But this is 4 ounce. Okay. And I just need I need to get myself a chunk of this today. So I can make a sheath. Now you can cut this with, I just use fabric shears. You don't have to get any special shears other than fabric. You need something strong. These are really sharp. Let's see. I might want a bigger piece. Hang on a second. Let me get a bigger piece. Alright, that'll do the trick. See, all these different pieces that I get, like if I cut out a piece like that square, I'm going to use that because based off of size, that'll go on a smaller knife. But usually if I cut something out, I try to do it with the intent of, hang on a second. Okay, there we go. All right, where was I? Okay, so I have to figure out what I want where. I'm probably going to use that other piece to make myself a slight case to this thing. This is a no-go. This is the ferro rod I've got to build, and I'm going to need it for, so I'm going to need to be able to figure out the ferro rod. So you take your ferro rod, see I've got another piece, that's what I was looking for, and you have to determine how much of that you're going to need. And that's going to kind of go in the middle there. I might use a bigger piece, but I'm not sure. Something like that going along the side of it. Let's just kind of set that to the side. All right. All right, blade on one end, and ferro rod goes on the same end that the blade goes on. So let's just fold this up real quick and give it a look. Kind of have an idea here. All right. Give yourself some room. Let's just give ourselves a lot of room, because you can shave off what you don't need. That's just for the blade. You just need to know where the blade is for now. And then I just need to know where that is. And here, I don't need to know much about that, but roll there, roll back, roll it all the way over. Because you could just cut one side, but I prefer to do it this way. Anything needs to get shaved off, I can do it in a minute. There we go. Let's go ahead. I just need to know where that is. Okay. Now I can cut this out. Now you want to leave room for your belt. So you want to be able to fold it over. So what I usually do, if it's going to be right-handed, I keep it all on the right-hand side. And all I do is just kind of give myself an idea, and then I'll use the straight edge when I cut it, so I'll know. And you can kind of do something fancy like this. So give it a fancy design. I'm not sure how that's going to look yet. All I got to do is cut it out and figure it out. So there's that. That gives me a design. That's going to fold over the back. This will fold over the sides and snap it together. And this will kind of keep it covered up so it's not getting damaged. And then for the ferro rod, you're just going to add a slit in here. Not in this, but this is going to be part of your blade stop in there. So it'll become part of your blade stop in the inside there. Then you'll have a space here. You could bring it up higher, which is going to need to be, since it's so long. It's going to come all the way down, so I need to put it in the very top. So the only amount of blade stop I'm going to need to make is this section here. That's it. I just need this one little section here that I have to make for this. So let's get to cutting. Oh yeah, and I just use shears to do this too. It's not that hard to do. I just follow what I did. And I don't need a huge tongue up here. And you won't see any of the pen marks when I'm done either. And another thing that people don't know, you can bleach leather. A lot of people don't know you can add bleach on leather, and that's just another trick that people don't really talk about. If you get something on it and it's sort of got a stain to it, you can bleach the leather and it'll turn it back white. People didn't know that. I've ruined a lot of leather. All right. It's going to be just like that when I'm done. Now, sheath like this doesn't run people very much. It's time consuming for me to make. So, I mean, something like this would run somebody about 40 bucks to make. Something like this, just like this actually. But a lot of people will ask me, hey man, make me a knife sheath. And it's for this particular knife. Well, I don't have that knife. See what I'm doing here? I need this knife to make this sheath. If I don't have the knife, I can't make the sheath. And a lot of people will assume that I can just make a knife sheath like that, and I just can't. See, I'm going to be wet molding this, so I wanted to be able to size this up. I want to be able to show this nice little part here, but I don't want this banging up against stuff, so I'm going to cover the sheath. And the way it's going to work is you flick it open, and just like that. This is going to kind of be a drop, just like that. Something like that. Now that I've got this figured out, I need to make the blade stop. And I could do it with thicker leather, and that's what I'm going to need to do. Since I'm doubling these, I'm going to need to use a thicker piece of leather. And see, here's an old piece of scrap that I had that I used for whatever, right? And I think I did some circular pattern painting type ordeal, and I was testing out different stamps. But I know how much I need, and I just need to cut out what I need. So basically, I can add this to this, and then let's just sort of put this up here, wherever. And to get my arch where I need it, and I know how big this needs to be, because it needs to be a bigger one. So about this length I won't need, but I will need all that. So just going to trace this, and then I get that traced out. I just need to pull this back a little bit and get it close enough, bring it up a little bit. So I want that whole thing. Give myself that. That's the piece that I need to cut out, and I'll have to do that with my razors. Alright, so you would start with, let me bring you down here. I'll back this up so you can see. Alright. Use a flat razor first, like this, so you can do this. Just push it in. Get that end. Now you've got that part done. Get your other razor. Get your starter. And then pull. And just sort of pull and turn. Now if the leather's wet, it definitely cuts a little bit faster. Sometimes I can just pull through it, but today it's being a little difficult. See, just like that. It's a lot easier than trying to cut 10-ounce leather with shears. It's not going to happen. You're going to have a really bad day trying to do that. And ta-da! There's the piece I need. Alright, now I'm going to glue this down. I'm just going to be using some wonderful super glue today. Actually, it's Gorilla Glue. Just line it up. Kids are going crazy. You see that? Now, when I fold this up, here, let me move this over a little bit. When I fold this up, it's going to apply more pressure. So I've got these to go underneath the teeth so it doesn't add teeth marks to my leather. It will tool mark your stuff up if you're not careful. Sometimes I kind of add padding so that it doesn't leave an impression. And the next thing I've got to do is size up my ferro rod and add that. So all I'm going to do with this is just make sure this guy will fit and cut off my excess. So I don't need all that, so I just kind of cut off a little bit and I'll stick it in there and ta-da. We don't need no stinking sawhorses. Anyway, this is a beautiful piece of fat wood, light or not, whatever you want to call it, and I need this for my handle for my ferro rod. So I'm just going to cut off a small chunk. I do this outside because it's flammable. Hey, it's no katana saw. It's this is a Stanley, and that's what I use. Just get it trimmed down. I just chip it off, And then once I get it mounted on, I take a razor blade and I clean this all up, and then I clear coat the whole thing so it won't dry out. You don't want it to dry out because you want it to be useful. 1/2-inch drill bit. Don't get crazy and drill all the way in. There you go. Alright, I've got them glued together and sandwiched. It's sandwiched together now and drying. And while that's drying, I just wanted to show you real quick before I moved on. This is your 1/2-inch. This is your 1/2-inch hole. And you can see it fits really snug, okay? So you don't need a lot doing this. Real simple little project. Kids are going crazy again. They are always going crazy. You just take this guy here and you just dab a little in there. You don't need a lot, it just needs to stay on there. Just like that. And then take the one with your hole on it. You don't want people seeing the hole, right? Just twist it. And you'll hear a little air come out. And there you go. It's on there now. And all I have to do at this point, let this dry, set up and dry. And you get yourself a little box cutter kind of like this one. And you just look at the angles, things you want to get rid of, like this notch here that's sticking up. You just reach in and just take it off, just like that. And you want to, of course, whittle this outside, but I whittle this into shape and then I clear coat it. You clear coat it so it won't dry out. Otherwise, it won't be Fatwood anymore. It'll just be a piece of wood. So don't let it dry out on you. You want to clear coat it up. I said you just round it off. I've got it all nice and rounded off here. And I'll clear coat it once I'm done doing this, but I just wanted to share with you what I'm making here. But there's some leftover survivor cord, and it's got fire cord, fishing line, and snare wire. And I'm not sure if there's anything else unusual in there, but you got your basics of what you need. And I just need a nice little strand of this so I can make myself a pace counter. And I'm going to go ahead and cut it off there. And we're just going to burn that. And then we're going to add, there we go. Now these are Jolly beads. And usually what I do is I can go ahead and lace through, get one side going all the way through this thing. And I'm going to add a pace counter here, so I'm going to be adding all of my beads for that and try to get this the right amount on here. The reason why you don't want to go tying it up and stuff is because the internals of this moves a lot. The survivor cord, it moves a lot, so I'm just going to start adding my strands for my pace counter now, and then when I'm done, I'll put 9 on one side, and some people do 4. I do 5 for certain reasons because mileage, but I want to put 5 on this side, and then I'm going to put 9 on this side. And as you word, it's Titan survival cord. I gotta make sure you get that right. Someone's going to be like, survival cord, what is it? But anyways, I've got my 9 on that side. Usually people want to see the whole thing. I want to see all of it. So you just gotta get that, there we go. Get that started. I'll go ahead and add my other to this side. So I'm just working on the other side. I'm going to finish this up and then we'll move back to the knife sheath. Alright, I'm just going to add my holes. Now, you got to make room for rivets, because you're probably going to want to do rivets too. I don't want to take all day doing that. Alright, I'm just stitching away. So, basket weave again, right at the beginning, like I always do. I just lay it down, come back through. Well, hang on. There you go, like that. Pull it tight. See, it's right there. Oh, zoom in. There you go. It's going down. I just go right over the top of that. Go in. And then bring it back up again. Pull it tight. Back down. And I'm just weaving that into it basically. Just like that. Now, got a nice little weave. And I don't have to burn anything really. I can just cut it. It's not going anywhere. And then I just continue to stitch the rest of it up. In and out. Back and forth. All the way down. And then when I get down to the ends, I just reverse it. I made these a little bit further apart because I don't need anything too crazy for stitches, because I'm still going to reinforce it with rivets. I'm just going to put a couple on it. Not going to get crazy. Remember, the more rivets you add, it doesn't look so good, okay? It starts to look kind of tacky, so you want to be careful with... See if I can get this through here a little bit faster than I can show you all the little processes. Now, I've gotten a lot faster at doing this. A person that hasn't done this a lot, it's not going to be this fast. But I'm assuming as I continue to get better at this, I'll get a little bit faster each time I do it. That doesn't mean it costs any less. It's still time consuming. And at this point, you know, it's still I remember the first time trying to do this, so it's definitely not something that any skill that can just be picked up just by saying you're going to do it. Just like any skill, just like anything, you're going to have to do it, or you're not going to be any good at it. I guess that's pretty good words of wisdom. You can't do it if you don't do it. So you got to start somewhere. And just keep going through. And this is just like the kits that you get from Tandy as well. They're stitch kits, so... This is the kind of stuff that I give away on Patreon, just so a lot of you know. Someone got my Bushcraft cup. Dang it! Now I gotta make another Bushcraft cup because I gave that one away. But it's all right. I'll just make another one. Someone earlier when I got started got a set of leather knuckles. And a couple other things. I've given away axes and stuff. Different types of... Alright, so I've come through this back side here. You guys watch me do the whole thing. I'm not... But what I do is I like to weave through like this. I like the way it looks anyway. I'll go down to that one spot that I didn't weave, just like that, and then just cut it off, and then I'm done. Cut off that other one. That's pretty much all you gotta do. There you go. Alright, at this point, I need to put a T-Rex stamp in the right direction, obviously, because it is T-Rex approved. So I've got to put this here, just like that. Now I've got my T-Rex stamp, you can see that, and I'm just going to go through the back side here, and I need to start putting in my rivets. But the first one up is this one here. I just need to make sure it's lined up And then this is my hole punch pad here that I use. And then that should give me a nice hole. Let's see how much further I've got. So I can put one right beside it if I want. That should do it. And I've got two right there. And I'm going to put a third one right here. Just right above it. I keep a variety of stuff. I'm going to be using medium rivets. These are antique brass medium rivets. Someone's going to want to know. I got to tell them. I use antique brass medium for most jobs. The thick stuff, I've got to use large rivets. Hoping that that's not too close. Yeah, doesn't look too tacky. Alright, I got to bring this over to my anvil and bust this stuff down real quick. Alright, when you get your rivets set, like if you don't like this curve here, all I'm going to do is take this, and you don't like it squared off, you just go around it. Just like that. There you go, nice little curve there. Nice little swoosh. And it doesn't need a snap or anything. All I'm basically going to be doing is molding this. It's going to go in like that, and I'm just going to probably just going to get it wet, do some wet molding, and make it nice and flat, and it'll look just like that. You got a nice little groove here. Pull it in and out. I could cut this whole thing off if I want to. I just don't know if I don't want to cut that off or not. I kind of like that being there, so kind of gives a different look. I make so many different sheets that this is, you know what I mean? Alright, hang tight. Alright, there's that. Alright, take your die. Try to turn the camera on. It's too hard to do it with the nitrile gloves on. I'm over here dripping. Not tripping, just dripping. I like using foam. It's like a foam padding. I like to use that stuff for applying this stuff because I usually do large areas, not little, tiny little areas. Start slipping all over the place. Just like that. Alright. Give it a minute. Alright, that's what I got so far. I just need to add the sheen. I'm just waiting for it to dry. But see, another version of wet molding, if you need to add that notch, while it's drying, I mean, I'm not getting really just a little bit of dye on my hands, but you can take it and make that mold and then pull the knife back out if you need to, if you're trying to get that mold. I figured I'd share that with you guys. Well, there you have it. You just need to set up for the rest of the night. Let's see if I can hold that up. There you go. Try and lay this out so you can see it. There you go. Nice and pretty. Nice pretty little sheet. Nice and flashy. Yep. Alright. You're watching SOS. I'm Stasser and Bass. Alright. Okay, someone's going to want to see me pull it out. Alright. Lay it down. It's still got to dry. But whoop, whoop, just like that. Alright. I got to hang it up now. Let it dry. You're watching SOS. I'm Stasser and Bass. Have a beautiful, fabulous, fantastic day. Rainbows and unicorns. Take it easy. God bless.